What's up, guys? Welcome to the first episode of the Catching Fire podcast. Today we're going to be talking about the NBA. We got the playoffs going on. In this episode, we're going to be talking about the Western Conference playoff teams and what they can do next season and in the offseason to be better. We're going to start off from the bottom, so we're going to start with the Grizzlies. The question I have for them is, what do you need to do to get better than an 8 seed?
Well, to me, I think they're a young team. Their best two players are very young. I think you stick with it. I think you wait your same years. Make sure you lock up the players you need. First of all, that's going to be Ja Morant, obviously. That's going to be Jaren Jackson Jr.
Ja Morant hasn't signed his extension yet, has he?
I'm not sure. They got to get that done, though. But him, Jaren Jackson Jr., and then Dillon Brooks. I think you need to keep those three. But you definitely got to get another solid role player in there. It doesn't have to be too crazy. It doesn't have to be, some kind of all-star player. But he has to fill in that three spot.
When you look at their lineup, you got Ja at the point guard, Dillon Brooks at the shooting guard. Who is it at the small forward?
Desmond Bain.
I thought it was Kyle
Anderson. And Kyle Anderson.
Desmond Bain or Kyle Anderson.
He can play the forward, too.
And then
power forward.
Triple J and Jonas Valanciunas. To me, the biggest hole there is obviously small forward. I know Desmond Bain. Didn't he get all rookie team or something?
I'm pretty sure he did.
I know he did, but for long term, I don't think that Grizzlies fans want a 10-point per game guy starting at their small forward.
You don't want to stop the defense. You don't want to get a very bad defense.
Their defense is great, and I don't know how good of a defender Ja is. Dillon Brooks is a defender, so you got Ja with 17 points a game-ish. Dillon Brooks with 15.
Which is just for now. They're very young.
Triple J with 15, and Jonas Valanciunas with about 15. So that's about 60, right? 60, 62. And at the small forward in free agency, you can see Kelly Oubre's there. Evan Fournier, if the Celtics don't pick him up again.
I think they'll pick him up.
I do too. And then Otto Porter. And it's all 3-and-D players. And it's just the grit and grind of Memphis would stay the same. It's not like they're signing.
Kelly Oubre would fit their timeline the most, 100%.
Yeah.
Otto Porter Jr., he's on the older side. I mean, he's not too old, but he's...
For a veteran presence, I don't think he's too bad, but that's what Kyle Anderson's there for.
Yeah, exactly. Him and if they keep Jonas, I'd like them to keep Jonas for at least another year or two, but they can't keep him forever to me.
I mean, I want to say he's between 26 and 28, which is like young.
I'll go check. Let's see.
Young, but 28's like not young.
Do you think, what about like
he's
the
in
bench?
the middle.
Like they have Grayson Allen.
Grayson Allen's good.
He's young.
Brandon Clark's been coming off the bench. Xavier Tillman from Michigan State. Shout out Sparty. He's been good. He against the Warriors, he had a clutch corner three. I didn't know the dude could shoot.
Who?
Xavier Tillman. They have
Jonas is 29, by the way.
29. Okay. They have Tyus Jones, which
I
don't think
that.
For the record, let me say this: you get rid of Jonas Valanciunas.
How much money do they free up?
I think he makes $15 million.
15,
But
yeah.
If you get rid of him and $14 million this year, but him and Kyle Anderson, their oldest player is 25. Nothing above 25. And Kyle
Who is
Anderson
that? Who's the
27.
25-year-old?
No, they're all. There's a 25 Justice Winslow, Dillon Brooks.
I forgot about
Allen.
Justice Winslow. He was hurt all last year.
Well, that's what I'm saying there. They're a very young team. So you definitely don't want to get somebody out of the timeline. So somebody like Kelly Oubre would be very good. He definitely get any buckets they need to. That's kind of a hole Desmond Bain's not going to fill as of right now.
And I think Grizzlies fans are fine with Desmond Bain coming off the bench.
Oh, yeah, 100%.
Like a
100%.
second unit, for a second unit, you keep Triple J in the game.
Oh, yeah.
When you take Ja out, you put in Desmond Bain, Grayson Allen.
They got Tyus Jones.
Tyus Jones.
Great backup.
Great.
I like him as a
I like him.
I like him.
Another option, Evan Fournier. I don't even know if Celtics fans like him. You're a partial Celtics fan, Travis. How do you feel about that?
I mean, I don't think he's worth the money. The money is 18? He's a solid, I know it's $18 million, I'm pretty sure. Let me check. And Fournier. $17 million this year. That is a lot of money when he gets hot, he's hot.
For 15.
But
15 points.
15.
15 points and nothing else. Literally
his defense,
nothing else.
His defense does not match up.
No playmaking, and he's 6'8", doesn't rebound.
He wouldn't be good on the Grizzlies. Not at all.
The thing about Kelly Oubre, he's probably expensive.
Yeah, he's going to be very expensive.
But their cap situation before the Ja Morant extension because we were looking at the cap, and I think that Jonas Valanciunas was at the top with that $15 million.
Yeah.
And that's not a huge, big contract on your team.
They don't have one contract reaching the 20s. Only 3 are double digits, and that is Jonas, Justice Winslow, and Dylan Brooks. The rest is $9 million and under. Keep in mind.
What's Triple J's?
$7 million. And
he's getting his extension soon.
But he's got a $9 million the next season.
Okay, so he's still on that deal.
2 more years for him, and then for Ja Morant, it's a team option for 3 more years.
I want to say Ja Morant's going to sign that Trae Young extension. I think that was that 158. I don't entirely know, but I think Triple J. I know they're going to want to pay him, but that Miles Turner 4-year $80, I think is perfect.
Well, they have a team option on Justice Winslow, $13 million they could get rid of.
Get rid of that.
I think you get rid of it.
If he tests and someone gives him $15 million, you're not at a loss. He didn't play last year.
100%. Like they definitely can go get somebody, and if they take a little more clearing out.
The sad thing about it is, I think the Grizzlies' ceiling at the absolute most is a 6 seed in the next 2 years.
2 years? I think in the next 4 years they can get a 5. I think they get a
5-4.
It won't be long
after the Clippers fizzle out.
Clippers. And
after
Lakers,
LeBron's done.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to say they're next up in the West, but
no, I wouldn't think that.
They're not. But for teams that have been fringe playoff teams for a while, I think they can step up into going into the season. You're like, they can make a 6 seed.
So bottom line is they need to get more role players, like great role players, not just kind of filling the slot. They need to get a few more good options that can score the ball and keep up with defense.
Yeah.
And that can push them on for a long time.
Yeah. I think that's enough on the Grizzlies. We're going to move on to the Lakers. The surprise 7 seed of the year. Like, they were the 1 seed for the first, month or 2 of the season, and then they dropped all the way after LeBron and AD injury. The question I have for them is, you hear all the rumors about Kyle Kuzma being traded, Lakers fans wanting him gone, Dennis Schroeder wanting to play elsewhere, Magic Johnson saying he's not a Laker, and Montrezl Harrell sometimes getting DNPs in the playoffs.
Yeah.
If they leave, who do you replace them with?
I'm not. It just depends on their cap. Like, they don't have much. They're kind of in a bad situation. Because you got Andre Drummond. You said him, right? He's gone.
I haven't said Andre Drummond, but he is gone.
He's gone leaving. Too. There's another.
He was on a cheap contract though off that buyout, wasn't he?
Yeah, but he doesn't want another. He doesn't want. He said that he doesn't want a minimum.
And the thing about it is, you trade Kyle Kuzma, that's only like $1 million off your books. He hasn't signed.
Well,
his
they have a
extension
team
yet.
option on Trez, and he is $9 million. No, that's a player option.
Oh, he might decline the player.
He
option.
honestly, I think
he's probably going to leave
unless they guarantee him a starting spot. I think he thinks that he's worth more than $9 million.
Yeah, 100%. But they might tell him to stay, and they tell him they're going to trade him, something like that. Because if you can convince him to stay just for the trade, you could trade Montrezl Harrell, Kyle Kuzma, which is around
about 10 million, 10 to 12 million.
No, Kuzma is on $3 million. But here's the thing: the next year after the 2020-21 season, $13 million.
For Kuz? He did sign that extension. It was like that 70, wasn't it?
So $13 million and $9 million. That's $22 million, and then a draft pick. That's a solid, great player you can pick up with $22 million.
Yeah.
If you convince everybody to stay. Like, who's somebody they could get? They got LeBron. They got AD.
For trade?
Yeah, for trade. They're gonna
Lauri
go
Markkanen.
They're gonna go after a star.
Lauri Markkanen.
I don't think they're
if they can convince Anthony Davis to go to the center, they can go after Lauri Markkanen with Kyle Kuzma in that pick. I think they can, but you got to think that pick's not very valuable.
No. Yeah, I don't think they're going. I think they're going for now. I think they're going to get a player that is. What is Zach LaVine's contract right now? They want Zach LaVine. I guarantee you that.
It's that Chris Kings contract that he got a max on.
Really?
That
Let me see.
The one that they matched. It was a pretty big deal.
Yeah, I remember that.
It might be that 4-year 80.
No, it's only 19. It's $19 million.
The 4-year 80. Okay.
So they could get.
But they're going to re-sign him soon. So
yeah.
But he's already said how frustrated he is. If they could get a Zach LaVine, that's 100%.
Yeah, but I don't think.
He's only 26 as well.
I don't want to touch too much on the Bulls, but they got Vucevic, they got Patrick Williams, Kobe White. They're gonna let it run. They're gonna let it run for a year or two.
If they want, but if Zach LaVine wants to go,
the main problem.
That's the thing. If he wants to go, who's to say they don't let him go? Like the Bulls are like that.
Yeah, I don't know. It just depends.
It's just a tough situation for the Lakers because, you got LeBron on a max, AD on a max, and you're still paying KCP money.
They have no future, and honestly, what it looked like last year, their president isn't doing anything. I mean, I don't know what you do. You might. I don't want to say blow it up when you have.
There's no timeline either. And you look at the players in free agency, anyone could go to the Lakers
100%.
at any time.
100%. You can't blow it up because you have LeBron James and Anthony Davis on your team. You can't blow it up. That doesn't make sense.
If you blow it up, you can't convince Lakers fans to trade LeBron.
But
what it's going to be is I saw if they want Damian Lillard, it's Anthony Davis. Anthony Davis for Damian Lillard is what they were saying. And I think you can convince Lakers fans to do that.
Oh, yeah.
That is it, though. I don't think you trade Anthony Davis for anything else.
I'd be looking to get LeBron out before anything. A 38-year-old, 36-year-old. I mean,
yeah.
He's
you already saw signs of regression.
Yeah, exactly. Whether it's from injury or not, he's not the same.
He said it himself. He's not the same.
Yeah, if he says it.
I think that you look back at the years when he was with the Cavs, okay, and his team was not very good. That George Hill, J.R. Smith, but his team with the Lakers when he was by himself against the Suns was better. It's better when you look at Taylor Horton Tucker is better than George Hill was.
Yeah.
Okay. KCP is better than JR was. Better defender.
Worst.
Andre Drummond is better than Tristan Thompson.
Yes.
100%. That team was not good.
And that's the sign of regression right there. LeBron took that team to the playoffs. Yeah, and not just to the playoffs, but to the finals. He couldn't take the Lakers team to the past the Suns.
Much more reliable players. Much more than some of their reliable players were Kevin Love and Kyle Korver. That was historically bad, and he took them all the way.
And it's not a knock on LeBron. If you're 37, obviously you're gonna regress.
You can't. I know you want to keep him because he's LeBron. He's signed there. He's bringing you championships. But if he's not bringing them, what's he doing to you as a Lakers fan besides holding back your future and stopping your present?
You've seen the graphics recently of who the Lakers would have if LeBron and AD weren't there. And the list is D'Angelo Russell, Julius Randle, Brandon Ingram, Zion, Josh Hart. Zion. I don't even know who I was trying to say. But Lonzo. Yeah. And you look at that and it's was it worth? I know you won a championship, but
was
it worth it?
The one championship's worth it and all, but it's over now. You can't live on it. You got to do what you do to get back there, and I don't think sticking with this is what you got. I don't think that's the way.
I think you look at the top of free agency, the Lakers aren't getting any of those.
No.
You look at the middle, and
a lot of these free agents are trying to go somewhere where they're going to thrive, and
you see Serge Ibaka, you see T.J. McConnell, and you see Goran Dragic. Goran Dragic you can get for a 1 year, 18. I don't know if they have that money, but that's a good fit.
I don't know if they do. I don't know if they have that money and to get any other role players.
T.J. McConnell is a great backup. You can probably get him for cheap. But a lot of people are going to be going after him. I can 100%. See him going to 15 NBA teams.
100%.
It's just a rough situation for where they're at and where they could have been.
Celtics need T.J. McConnell.
They do.
Trading Kemba Walker like that. I don't want to get on the East yet, but you trade somebody like a starting point guard. He's either a backup or a good enough starter just for a while. Yeah. That's plenty of teams like that. He's going to get a bigger deal and a bigger role than the Lakers.
Bottom line with the Lakers, it's a tough situation. They're with LeBron and AD, you're always going to compete for a championship.
Yeah. Oh, exactly.
And I know they didn't do it this year, but they can run it. They realistically can run it back. I mean, it's not that hard.
Might as well try.
I think that's enough on the Lakers. Lakers get talked about enough. Moving on to the 6th seed, the Blazers. And I've been asking this question for 4 years. Is it time to blow the CJ and Dame duo up?
I say yes.
You say yes?
I say yes.
I don't know. Every single year for the past 3 years, I've said yes. Blow it up for that long. But I mean, with the way the league is now, there's no one dominant team. I think you try it one more time, and you get them way better players around them. They have never had players that are just stuck out to help them. If you get them one...
Yusuf Nurkic cannot be your third option.
No, exactly.
If your aspirations are to win a championship...
Exactly.
He can't... Yusuf Nurkic can't play more than 6 minutes at a time.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. You give them... You get like a Miles Turner or somebody like that. They need somebody to step it up big time.
And I don't want to say it's not hard to trade for Miles Turner, But when you look at the Pacers, you see their two best players are post players.
Yeah.
I don't think that can happen.
Exactly. That's true.
You can't have Domantas Sabonis and Miles Turner on the inside.
Mm-hmm.
And who are they going to pick? Domantas Sabonis or Miles Turner? Domantas Sabonis, obviously. He's the all-star.
Yeah, he's much better. Much better.
And so I think that, you look at the stats of Miles Turner and you don't think that he is a third option. And I'm not saying he would be the third option, but I'm saying 13, 8 to 10, and 2.5 blocks. Mm-hmm. That's an NBA record. 2.5, 3 blocks. He was leading the league.
I think you do something like that, you get great players around them too. It doesn't have to be all-star caliber. It just has to be reliable players. But you try it one more time. I think you blow it up. I think they've been what, like we said, they've been a 7 seed for the past, as long as we've lived. They've been barely a playoff team just to keep them in the talks. Mm-hmm. But they've never taken that big step. You try one more time for that big step, and if it's not there, I'm
going to give you my dream Blazers lineup for next year, okay? You ready?
Yeah.
Damian Lillard, Duncan Robinson, Robert Covington, Ben Simmons, and Miles Turner.
That CJ and Ben Simmons, that would be very interesting. Yeah. Miles Turner.
And that's the only Ben Simmons trade I've seen.
Dude,
that's the only one that I think works.
That would be that defense right there.
You have the defense right here. Mm-hmm. And I think that with Miles Turner being there and with Ben Simmons being there, these two CJ and Duncan become more confident defenders on the perimeter.
100%. Oh, yeah. And you have your shooting with Dame, Duncan Robinson, and Covington.
3-and-D player. I mean, he was for 3 years, for that 1 year when he was in Houston and they were trying to trade him, you had the Hawks, the Lakers, the Celtics. Everyone was calling about Robert Covington because everyone needs a 3-and-D player like him.
100%. And then Ben Simmons, I think he'd thrive at the 4. He'd
get the ball out of his hands. Put him in a dunker spot.
100% dunker spot. And then, hey.
And you can make decisions in the dunker spot.
And here's the thing, 100%. If he gets the rebound, he can go.
Draymond Green. Draymond Green role.
He does not have to be the always point guard. He could get the rebound, go on the fast break if it's there.
I think he was set up for failure.
Yeah.
When he was, you become the number 1 pick and you get a big head. I don't want to say that's what happened, but a lot of pressure is on you to be a number 1 pick
100%.
and give number 1 pick
opportunities, positions where you are. Yeah.
He was put in a situation where he was put in a position where he had to lead a team that was a 10-win team a couple of years ago.
I mean, you look at it, they're a 1 seed, but when it comes to playoff basketball, he's not cut out for it. Mm-mm. He's not cut out for it at the point guard spot, handling the ball most of the time.
You look at players who cannot shoot, like Giannis. Mm-hmm. He's not playing point guard.
Yeah. No. That man is in the dunker spot, and he is in the post-up spot, which is where he needs to be.
And let's look at the Bucks lineup just real quick. Eric Bledsoe, I'd take that back.
Yeah, Drew Holiday.
Drew Holiday.
Come on now.
Drew Holiday.
Chris Middleton.
I don't remember their starting shooting guard, honestly. But Giannis and Brook Lopez.
Dante's hurt.
He's hurt, but that's what it would be. But you look at it, Brook Lopez is a shooter. And you,
for a post. He can stretch the floor.
He can stretch the floor.
Him and Chris Middleton can stretch the floor. Leave it for Giannis to be where he
You
needs
hear
to
Joel Embiid in interviews, he doesn't like shooting the ball.
Yeah.
But he does it because Ben Simmons can't.
Yeah.
Back to the Blazers, you put Dame, who can shoot it from 35, Duncan Robinson, who is automatic.
100%.
Robert Covington, you put him in the corner. Dude, he's going to shoot it.
Yeah, the corner shot. He's got the corner shot.
Ben Simmons at the dunker spot. And Miles Turner in the opposite corner.
Oh my gosh, that team.
The spacing is there where it isn't with the Sixers.
It's just hard to you'd have to match up all the contracts and extensions. You want to make sure you keep that team for a while.
With CJ and Ben, I think the contracts match up perfectly. I'm not gonna lie to you. When his extension kicks in, I think it does.
Let's go Trailblazers. Where are they? Trailblazers. CJ McCollum. 30. It gets up to 35 million.
That's atrocious right there. Oh my gosh.
How much does he average? 18 for just all he can do is score. That doesn't.
No All-Star game.
No winning basketball.
No defense.
Where are we going? 76ers.
Yeah.
Philadelphia 76ers.
So you said CJ at 35.
Or no, that's his very last year. 30 million.
30 million. 30. Okay.
Ben Simmons 29. It matches up.
It matches up perfectly.
Yeah.
But
exactly what they need.
I don't know who asks for more. Like, do the Sixers want more for Ben Simmons or do the Blazers want more for CJ? I think the Sixers want more for.
I think the Sixers want more for Ben Simmons because he has more upside.
Because they're gonna ask.
You're getting what you get from CJ, but Ben Simmons is always. What if he can't? What if he figures it out? What if he figures out his shooting? What if he does better here? So
I think that CJ,
a pick and maybe
Nasir Little,
and a pick.
and a pick, maybe 2 seconds, not a first.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
think. I think when you look at that, like, there's a difference, and I'm gonna compare it to 2K. You make trades in 2K, and you make trades in real life. You give up a lot more in real life.
Yeah. 'Cause
Like a 2K trade, the CJ, Nasir Little, and 2 picks for Ben Simmons, that goes through 100% out of 100 times. But in real life, you see it's harder to trade for people.
100%. Because like, it's just so much more riskier. Because this is like, you make that trade, that's a yearly trade. You're not doing that for a year. You're banking on the fact that Ben Simmons is about to get his stride going, figure out his new position, and everything works.
And like you said, for the Sixers, what if Ben Simmons pans out?
Yeah.
And you look like a fool, and you
know what
traded.
you're getting for
you traded
exactly.
for a not old, but older CJ, who I don't think gets them to a championship contender.
Don't get me wrong. I think he'd be great. I think he'd be great there. I don't like him playing up to point guard. He can do it a little bit, but
After that, they don't have a point guard though.
Yeah.
That's why.
I mean,
They
he
got
can,
Shake Milton.
But is he really?
Do you rely on Shake
is he-
Milton
yeah.
to facilitate?
They asked if Ben Simmons was a point guard for a championship team. Are we going to ask if Shake Milton is the point guard for a championship team?
Like, and then you,
Backup,
again, you
maybe.
see the point
Backup,
guards.
but they don't even got a starter if Ben Simmons is
You see the point guards in free agency. Goran Dragic. Go get you.
Dragic's nasty, but
Go get you Dennis Schroeder. Like, he's asking for a lot of money, but you got Joel Embiid tied up. You got Tobias Harris on the contract that he's on.
They're about to lose a $15 million Danny Green. They can get rid of that. Find a way to get rid of George Hill, $9 million.
And there's that.
That's it. You have
there's
Seth
CJ.
Curry on a $7 million. To me, that's a good deal. Seth
That is
Curry's
a
baller.
steal.
That is a steal. Seth Curry's for 3 years, by the way.
For the Sixers, I do think that with this lineup right now, they've reached their peak. That one seed was their
100%,
peak.
100%.
The conference semifinals was their peak.
It was
they
not-
ran
it was
into a
no
Hawks
fluke.
team that it's not a fluke. They ran
No.
into a Hawks team that doesn't have a second scorer,
Exactly.
and they let Trey Young, Kevin Huerter just
If they would have had Jimmy
destroy
Butler,
them.
might be a different story.
Jimmy Butler with the Sixers was phenomenal.
the fact
and
that they let that
that's
go.
crazy.
That was
But
unbelievable. But all right,
for the Sixers, it's just I think you. No, wait. We're on the Blazers. For the Blazers, we got off talking about the Sixers for a
Yeah.
while. But for the Blazers, you go after Ben Simmons.
Ben Simmons.
I
Ben
think-
Simmons, you
is
take
the
that
trade to
shot.
make.
What do you have to lose? You're already as
CJ's
average
old.
You're
CJ's
about to blow
old.
it up
You're being
anyways.
you're being as average you can get. You're within 3 years of having to blow it up because nothing is happening. That's a perfect way to start a rebuild
Yeah.
by getting a Ben
And
Simmons.
it's like
Ben Simmons is 24 years old.
you're starting a rebuild with an MVP caliber player, still keeping Damian Lillard.
Yeah.
It's crazy. You can start that.
Ben Simmons is 24 years old. That's perfect in his prime. That's perfect for a rebuild that you want to accelerate. They're not looking for a rebuild to keep them trash for a while. They're looking for a accelerate it, make it go real quick. And that's a perfect way to do that.
So let's see who's next. The Mavericks. They were the 5 seed last year. They were the 7. So their question. Let me find it real quick. What's going on with Porzingis? You see him. He, in my opinion, he earned that 4-year, 5-year, 158 in New York when he
In
was
New
an
York,
All-Star
yeah,
and then
yeah.
tore his ACL. He earned that, but you look at his production in the playoffs and you see
It's terrible.
the casual NBA fans say, "Why did they pay him that much money?"
At the time, it made sense. At the time, it made so
It made so much
At
sense
the time, that man
because
was next up.
there were reports when he first got there that he didn't want to be there. But when they could lock him up and give him the money that
Yeah.
he wanted so that he would stay, it was such a smart decision from Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
And
They had no way to tell that what's
Yeah.
happening right now is going to happen.
and I get this question from the casual NBA fan, quote unquote, when they're like, Luka's doing all he can, Luka has no help.
Yeah, that's
I think Luka has sufficient help.
he has Tim Hardaway, great shooter. Kristaps Porzingis is a better player than what he's getting.
Than 13-6. He's better than that.
Yeah, 100%. He's better than 13 and 6. The 6 rebounds, I don't know if that's a coaching
not
thing or if that's on him. 6 rebounds is sorry.
At
It's not
7-3,
enough
that's
for
sorry.
7-3.
Yeah,
Not enough.
exactly.
I think that goes back to the usage rate of Luka, and when you watch the games, and you really watch Luka, when he misses long every single time. He misses back rim,
'cause he's taking-
and it goes long.
You watch the
Kristaps
games all
isn't
the
going to
time.
get that rebound.
A pick and fade between Luka and Kristaps should be deadly, but
Not when you're getting doubled
it's a
and
pick
you're
and
making
fade.
the wrong decision.
Double on Luka. Luka step back three, miss, clank off the rim. That's why he's not getting rebounds.
Porzingis isn't going to get those rebounds.
He's out there on a pick and fade, which is a great offense if you give him the ball.
Yeah.
If he is on a hot streak and he is just constantly getting his shots up, he's gonna score 18 to 22.
Like we say, we call it the dunker spot, right?
Mm-hmm.
Put him in the dunker spot and run your offense from the wing, okay?
Mm-hmm.
Like you put Luka on the wing, set him up, run a pick and roll. If that doesn't work, bring it out, post up Porzingis.
100%.
Or let Luka create.
It's-
And Luka draws double teams. He'll draw off that power forward center guarding KP, and if he can hit that short corner shot, or he's long enough, he can just go dunk it. Like I think that is a sufficient offense. And when you add in 13 points from Jalen Brunson, 12 from Josh Richardson,
Whatever Tim Hardaway does.
18, 17 from Tim
But
Hardaway.
here's the thing.
Which Porzingis is not a good post-up player.
He's not a great
He's
post-up
never
player.
been.
But you hit him with
If you put
fake
a
back
stop-
him down, turn around, fade, 7-3. You
that
can't
fade,
block
that-
that.
the dirt.
I'll take 5
Here-
possessions like that a game.
Here's the thing. The amount of double teams and attention that Luka draws, even though he's Kristaps, he should be so open. He should be so open. And there's no way you can blame that on Porzingis.
And at 7-3, even if your defender gets back, you can see over everybody.
Yeah,
you can
have
see
the opportunity. Like
you
some blame has to go on Luka. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah.
Whether it's on Luka or whether it's on the coaching, I don't know. But we'll see.
You
with
look
Rick
back
Carlisle.
at the James Harden Rockets, right?
Mm-hmm.
And you see the usage rate. I think it was like NBA high 96%. The offense was running through him.
Yeah.
There was no other ball handler. And his pick and roll mate was Clint Capella. And you can throw those lobs to Clint Capella because he was strong and he can go up. But with Luka and Kristaps Porzingis is a legitimate scorer. He can score.
Yeah. Here's the thing. We'll see this year. If it was the coaching, I guaranteed you Kristaps is going to go up 5 points. And I guaranteed you he'd go up to 18 points and 9, maybe 10 rebounds. If it was a coaching thing, telling him to stay out and he's not getting the ball.
Yeah.
We'll
And
100% see.
What doesn't make sense to me is that Rick Carlisle had I'm not sure about this, but he had Dirk. I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I don't know if he had Dirk while Steve Nash was there.
No.
But
no.
I think that
He-
was Don Nelson.
That was probably Don Nelson.
Oh.
But he had Dirk, and he knew how to play with Dirk. Even if your point guard wasn't Luka, you
Yeah.
know how to run.
That's the thing. He's never had a Luka, and he's using too much Luka. Too
You-
much of a good thing can be bad. And that's what's happening.
facts. He coached Dirk.
Yeah.
Short corner, fades, free throw line, fades, post-ups. He knows how to coach a power forward
Dirk
like
was
that.
41 and still getting his
He
touches.
knows how to coach a power forward like that. But I don't know where the disconnect is. I know for a fact that there is a rift between Luka
Yeah.
and KP.
They do not like each other.
But which I don't think that's 100 on the court. A lot of times it's on the court. And it has to be a mix of a bunch of bad things.
I think it had something to do with the coaching of favoritism between
100%.
you put the ball in Luka's hand and you basically tell KP to get out of
Luka's
the way.
great. He's a superstar. He's going to be a Hall of Fame player to me. But like I said, too much of good thing can be bad. And one player offense like James Harden, we showed it's not going to work. It's not going to get you to where you want to be, and that's championship.
What doesn't make sense to me though is Luka gets done playing with the Mavericks, right? They get eliminated in 7. He goes to Slovenia, and in his first game with players who are obviously not as good as Porzingis and obviously not as good as any other players on the Mavs, and drops 17 assists.
Exactly. That has to be coaching. I guaranteed you he is doing what he wants to do in Slovenia, and that's pass the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Guaranteed you.
It's playmaking, and the usage rate with 17 assists is still high because the offense is coming from you, but it's not.
There's a difference between usage rate of shooting step back threes the whole time, double teamed, and you're driving in, they're double teaming, you're kicking it right there. Kristaps, easy.
Like last night in the Suns game, not the Suns game, the Hawks-Bucks game, Trae Young got doubled. I don't remember when it was pretty late in the game, and he got doubled, and he made the right decision. He didn't chunk up a arid pass or a 35-foot shot. He threw it behind the back, to a dude wide open on the key whose man came to double and the dude hit the 3. They only went.
Exactly.
They went down 2.
Yeah.
And so it's just decisions like that make it.
The more I look on it, the more I think about it, I think it's a coaching thing. Rick Carlisle's a great coach.
And they're going after Jason Kidd.
Yeah, I don't know how that's going to be. We'll have to see. As long as the coach has to get Kristaps involved. He's a player that helps when you get him involved.
Yeah.
The 13 points are honestly just the 13 against the whole system. Like, that's just 13 of his own.
That's 13 of 2 of your rebounds being off Luka misses, putting him back.
Yep.
That's 4 right there. That's
Exactly.
You finally get a post up or 2 or 3 a game, and you hit a fadeaway, or one time you actually run a pick and roll and you get the lob.
What's he going to do?
That's 11
when he's
points right
getting
there.
a lot of touches, and he's getting to finally find his stride and find his game. He's going to be
Like he
so
was in
much
York.
better.
He was an all-star for a reason.
He didn't get. I know he tore his ACL, but he didn't get worse from. He did, but it wasn't enough to affect him the way
He wasn't an
affected him.
athletic.
His play style isn't athletic.
Yeah, it was 100. It's got to be.
Randy, you can't be an athletic 7'3"
It's
person.
a system.
But,
It has to be a system. It has to be the system he in messing him up.
and Jason Kidd being with the Lakers for a while, you get to see how LeBron plays. I don't want to say he's like Luka, but LeBron compares himself to Luka.
Yeah. Like,
And you see how to coach LeBron, who has the pick and roll mate of AD, and you see
that pick and roll.
how that could work if you hire Jason
They
Kidd.
have to use it. And you have to. If Luka's not, that's the thing. If Luka says he doesn't want to do that, you gotta get rid of Porzingis.
You gotta get. It's a very player dependent league, and it's very you can't let go of a generational
Don't get me wrong,
talent.
I'm
like that.
loving this. The players get more touches. It's so much more exciting. But they hurt themselves. It's not like it used to be. A lot of NBA players don't focus on championships like they used to. A lot of it. Which they're trying to get their money. They're trying to make their living for their family. But at the end of the day, this is a sport, and we play to win.
In my opinion, when you say trade me or I sit out, that's not right.
You know what I thought? Have you seen these players signing maxes, waiting a year, and then they request a trade? I think if you request a trade,
New contract.
with a gigantic one, no, because they would have a heart attack. You lose around 35% of that contract.
Yes, that has to be in there.
That stops them from. Then they're thinking, okay, is it really worth it to be about 18? Let's say they sign a max. That's going to be a lot of money. 35%.
Like James Harden signed his 4-year.
Yeah.
And said he wants to be in Houston forever, and then.
Yeah, listen,
And then he gets tired of 96% usage rate, and he says, "Get me out of here. I'm gonna be fat until y'all trade me."
Yeah. Now they're asking, is leaving worth this money I signed? Because if I leave, I get this contract. If I stay, so now you finally have the decision: is it win, or is it this? It's no, there's a balance for the teams and for the players. It's not all the way players. It's not all the way teams. I think that'd be.
There's got to be a 50-50 balance.
Because you can't get rid of a whole contract because that's taking it very far. That's zero player control. But a 35%, to me, that's perfect. To me, they're suffering.
That 35% is a good number, and I think it's a number that I don't want to say scares, but it does the NBA players enough into rethinking: should I sign this contract?
Exactly.
Do I actually want to be here for 4 years, 5 years?
Yep.
And I think that Luka is, I think, in my mind, 100% going to sign that Supermax extension.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
After being on all NBA first team, I think he can make upwards of $200 million. I think that's the base contract for the.
That's just, even that, how can you win, a championship? A lot of times you see it. $200 million contract, and they're wondering, where's my help?
Yeah.
We're going off topic. NFL. All these players quarterbacks taking a gigantic contract. And they're like,
Tom Brady signs 2 years.
Yeah.
25.
The players that want to win are going to take their cuts, but they want to get their money and win at the same time. Sometimes that's Tim Duncan. How many pay cuts would that man take to keep that Spurs team? And look what it got him.
5 rings.
Exactly.
It's just
it has to happen. You can't have.
But
you can't have.
Luka's not the type of guy to do that. Luka.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. He doesn't come from.
I understand that. The foreign players like Luka and Giannis came from nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Exactly.
I understand them getting their bag.
100%. 100%. Giannis.
Do what the Bucks did. The Bucks were able, and they're both small market teams. Dallas is a bigger market. You understand
Dallas
that?
is a pretty big market.
And you see how they're able to pay Drew Holiday to play for them. How they're able to.
Which was very risky.
Very risky. How they're able to keep Chris Middleton interested in playing for the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
And you lure Brook Lopez from the Lakers. Yeah. How do you convince a dude to move from LA to Milwaukee? without a guarantee of better playoff position.
That man's probably foreign. He knows bad cities. It don't bother him. But what are we going to? The Bucks. Let's see where they are. Here they are.
That's enough on the Mavericks right there. We're going to move on next, but just I'm going to let you finish.
33 million, 27 million, 26 million. And then they have PJ Tucker, Brook Lopez at 12 million, 7 million.
Steele, by the way.
Steele. Yeah. Connaughton 4, Portis 3, Dante 3.
He's going to have to get paid soon.
Forbes 2.
And then
they got,
paid.
The rest of their bench riders.
Yeah.
Sorry.
But just the contracts in the NBA, they're very expensive because, they get more viewership. Not more viewership, but a more dense viewership of people who buy League Pass and who buy to watch games on a daily basis because they don't always... Because, NFL games, every single one of them is on TV every single day.
Yeah.
But NBA games, you see...
I can't watch Pelicans games because they're blocked out in my area and I don't have NBA
But there are a lot of people that'll pay for that.
Yeah.
So, moving on from the Mavericks and Luka... the 4 seed, what?
I said illegal streams. You find them.
Yep. Yeah, so on to the Clippers, arguably my least favorite team in the NBA.
One day I hate Kawhi, one day I love him. I don't know.
Okay. The question I have, and this could be a quick question, it could not, is it over if they don't win this year?
I think so.
I don't think so because Kawhi's hurt.
Kawhi's hurt, but he has a player option. And what if he realizes this is it? Is it the player option is this year, ain't it?
I want to say so.
I'm 99.9. Yeah, let me go check right now. I'm 99% sure it is.
Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I wrote this question before the injury.
To me, Kawhi, the Warriors sounds like a way more
Warriors
beautiful place
is intriguing
than the Clippers.
And no bias, the Heat is intriguing to Kawhi Leonard. I tell you what. Because him and Jimmy Butler, you hear reports that friendship is insane.
That defense, dude. They would
not to get on a whatever, but Kawhi Leonard, when he was with Toronto, best friends with Kyle Lowry. Who's at the top of the list to get Kyle Lowry?
The Heat.
The Heat / Lakers.
Lakers. But you get a trio, and Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler's kid's godfather. You see the connections all over the place.
It's a player option. I guaranteed you, Kyle Lowry, he's not what he was. Pay cut. Kawhi goes to the Heat. You could see a Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler. Kawhi. If they could fix those contracts, Kyle Lowry, Jimmy Butler, Kawhi, Bam Adebayo, and who else?
It doesn't matter who starts at year 4.
That is unbelievable.
In the East, you look at Brooklyn, and
then they still have Tyler Hero off the bench. Dude, there's so much you can do. There's so much.
You look at Brooklyn, you put Kawhi on KD. I'm not saying he's a great defender, but he's not a great defender. You put Kyle Lowry on Kyrie if he's still
scrappy.
there.
But
you put Jimmy Butler on James Harden. That's a matchup everywhere.
We need to focus on the Clippers. Let's say that does happen. Where do they go from there? They then have a Paul George.
To 15 in the West.
They have a Paul George, the one and only Pandemic P, to 2023. Player option to 2024. They have Marcus Morris, Serge Ibaka, Patrick Beverly. They're old.
And no draft capital.
Here's their young players.
They're
players I'm seeing in the 20s. If Kawhi leaves, the players in the 20s. Ivica Zubac, Luke Kennard, Terrence Mann, he's great.
I love Terrence Mann. I would take him on any
Yogi
team.
Farrell, Amir Coffey, and
don't play.
Jay Scrub, who
you don't even count those.
They're not even on contracts yet. I don't even know how that works. But basically, their team would be consisted of average role players in Marcus Morris, which Marcus Morris is great. Don't get me wrong, but
I don't like him.
When it comes to your team of being, your starting lineup would be like Patrick Beverly, Paul George, Luke Kennard, Marcus Morris, and Serge Ibaka. That is a terrible.
And what you see about
that, you're nowhere close to a championship, and you're nowhere close.
The Clippers aren't dumb. They got Kawhi and they got Paul George for a reason.
That was a beautiful move.
They got it for a reason, and they want to win a championship. Last year they couldn't do it. They couldn't get past, who was it? The Nuggets. They were up 3-1, and the Nuggets came back.
Yeah.
In my opinion, you can't come back from that. And you can't come back from, I don't want to say the series is over, because the series is not over.
2-0 is Kawhi lives.
But
if they win it this year, I mean, they still can. They're playing the Suns, don't get me wrong. But Chris Paul...
With Kawhi out, though, it's a different story. It's a whole different team.
Kawhi's the guy who comes back from 0-2.
Yeah, that's his thing. That is his thing, exactly.
You look at the Clippers, and you think they're built for a championship right now. Like, you look at all the other teams, the Bucks are built for a championship. The Nets were built for a championship.
The
You
Suns,
didn't think the Suns were built for a championship?
They're built for.
They're built for a championship.
Every single player that needed to step up for them
Has stepped up.
They have. Chris Paul did what he does. He gets the team better.
Out of the 4 teams left, the Clippers have the most playoff experience.
They really do.
They have a 2-time Finals
Whether
MVP.
Paul George's playoff experience is good,
Good or not,
yeah,
he did good in Indiana.
He was in the
Yeah.
playoffs.
He did good in Indiana.
He was there.
Compared
You
to
gotta
the
give him that.
Suns.
And you
Besides
look at
Chris
the
Paul.
Clippers; they're the most prepared. I don't
100%.
want to say that because you have Chris Paul, but
Yeah.
they're the most prepared for the playoffs. They have the veterans. They have
Mhm.
Reggie Jackson, who even with the Pistons was in the playoffs. I mean, Paul George did great with Indiana, great with the
He's been
Thunder.
playing besides the free throws. The free throws was bad. He has been doing. Good.
If they had won that game, he would have been the reason. He would be praised right now.
He was getting
He would
praised
not have
up
been praised.
until those 2 free
Praise.
throws. Until those 2 free throws, I've never.
Five
I never,
free throws.
Until those 5 free throws, I never heard.
He hit
that
the
on
shot
this
to
year.
put him up.
He has been balling. And here's the thing: they have Paul George, Kawhi, great defenders. Marcus Moore does his job, great defender to me. He was the one guarding LeBron back when he was on the Celtics. Did great. LeBron got his stats, but he tried to make it different.
Like when you hear LeBron stopper, it's
There's no
not 35, 12,
Yeah,
and 12.
it's only 27.
20,
Yeah.
25, 8, and 8.
Yeah.
That's what a LeBron stopper is. Like,
And then they have Rajon Rondo, who's a great, to me, he's like a crappy Chris Paul. Like, he's like a Chris Paul.
I saw this
reason
thing
they
that
call
said
him
there's
Chris
3
Paul.
Chris Pauls in this series. Campaign, Rajon Rondo, and Chris Paul.
Yeah.
There's 3 of them.
Yeah. Campaign has been balling out of his mind. I think that's enough on the Clippers. Basically, what we've learned is
If
it's over.
Kawhi decides their future.
Kawhi, yeah.
If
Kawhi leaves.
But here's
if
the
the
thing.
Clippers can
That's
will
how
their
he is.
way into making it back to Phoenix for game 5, if they can make it back for game 5 and Kawhi is 60% healthy
Yeah.
and he decides to play and he does his little short corner fadeaway post-ups, doesn't even have to guard Devin Booker, doesn't have to do that, they have a chance, and
Hold
then
up.
I think Kawhi stays.
But Kawhi stays. What are we doing different? Are we going to run it back again? If it's not this year, with
They've
LeBron
gotten-
being out like he is, like not doing what he does, when is it going to be?
And no one's going to want to go to the Clippers.
Exactly.
It's
You're-
not a very, I know it's LA, but it's not the appealing
It's not.
LA team.
It's
It's
really
not the
not.
Lakers.
Especially with the personalities. The fact that those personalities are fitting together with
It
Paul
doesn't
George,
make sense.
Kawhi,
DeMarcus Cousins.
DeMarcus Cousins, Patrick Beverly, and like Rondo. It's a miracle.
That's a lot of
They're all but here's the thing.
personalities.
They're all dogs, and they're scrappy. But you can be as scrappy as you want to be if you're not as talented as other teams, and
Yeah.
you don't have the right people. You don't. What did they blow it up and keep Kawhi and Paul George?
Bottom line is, again, Kawhi decides their future. If he
100%.
leaves, I think Paul George isn't far out the door.
Yeah.
And the Clippers are the laughingstock of the league
They're
for
back
5
to being
years.
the Clippers.
Yeah,
They're
back to
being
being
the Clippers.
That
Normal.
was a good one. They're back to being the Clippers, 100%.
So I don't think there's much more to say about that. I think we can move on to the Nuggets. And
Let's go to that Nuggets contract.
the question, I think this is very interesting. Do they get healthy and run it back? Or do they buy heavy in free agency to try to do something? I run it back because I'll say 2 things. Jamal Murray's back,
Yeah.
and you have Aaron Gordon the whole season. You can get a 1 seed with that.
But Will Barton? What do you do with the Will Barton? And
He hasn't played in the last 2 playoffs.
That's what I'm saying. $13 million. You get rid
You
of that.
can get rid of that, and you can go
Their
get.
contracts besides Murray $29 million, Jokic $28, and Aaron Gordon $18 million. And then you have Will Barton and Paul Millsap.
Go get a defender.
Paul Millsap's gone. I
Get-
think they let him leave. They're saying Paul.
What's his
$10 million. This is it. Like it's no player options.
No, I think they resign him. I think they, if they can convince him, and I don't think he has an ego. With
great,
Atlanta, he
yeah.
was never that player to have an ego. He signed a big contract with the Nuggets, and then he could have gone somewhere and signed another smaller contract but
Yeah.
bigger, but he stayed with the Nuggets on a $10 million deal. So you look at that and you say the dude he's humble. He can if you can get
Yeah.
him to accept an off the bench power forward role in place of Aaron Gordon, I think that the second unit of that team with Monte Morris, I don't even know.
They
but
got to give the next step to Bubble. Michael Porter Jr. gonna
Michael
be
Porter
great.
Jr.
He is
is
balling,
great.
dude.
And I think
He's only going to get better.
to answer my question, I think you run it back and you rely on the progression of Michael Porter Jr. and that Jamal Murray is 80% of what he was.
I think if you can somehow like point guard Jamal. They got Michael Porter. They got Gordon.
Who's their starting
their
shooting
two?
guard?
They don't have a good two. They mix up their twos, I believe, with
Is it Gary Harris?
No, he's in Orlando. That was a part of the.
Yeah.
I forgot it.
So
They have-
shooting guards.
they have
Evan Fournier. Go
you
by.
don't- That's all you need. You get Evan Fournier.
Go by Kelly Oubre.
Oh
Go.
my gosh, dude, that would
I
be
mean,
the
they're a
would be-
young team,
that's
but go by Otto Porter. It's the same things that we said for the Grizzlies.
That's
Go
a finals team.
go
Yeah,
buy somebody.
Exactly, that is a finals.
Like
team.
you run it back and you rely on your players getting better.
I think everybody there, everybody healthy, Michael Porter only getting better, and you get another solid player like that. That like Parker said, that is a finals team.
Now I say this though, and I say this very lightly. If they can't get it done this year, and the way the NBA goes, I think they fire Mike Malone.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That is gonna happen. It always.
I think they love Mike Malone up there in Denver, but with the last 2 years, no one expected them to beat the Lakers, right?
No,
but
yeah.
that happens. You don't win this year. Jamal Murray gets hurt. If you don't win next year and you're fully healthy, either they give him one more year, and if that doesn't happen, he's gone, or he's gone immediately.
I forgot JaVale was on.
I forgot about JaVale.
Dude, I hope Bobo makes that next step too. He could help me.
I hope so.
Another just
Backup
depth.
center role.
Just exactly. And they got JaMychal Green another year, average power forward backup. But-
The Nuggets are doing everything right. They have an MVP.
The fact that
Everything.
it just bad luck came down to, I don't think they would have won it anyways. I don't think they would have competed with this Suns team. And when it comes down to it, this Suns team is unstoppable.
Those
It would've been
more
those
like-
season
right now.
series,
It'd have
though,
been more
those
like Suns and
seasons, that
six.
season series with the
Mhm.
Nuggets and the Suns. Besides the Bucks Nets season series and besides the Suns Jazz season series, it was the third best season series
Mm-hmm.
of the whole regular season.
I'm telling you, I'm with you. Don't buy in heavy. You fill that role at shooting guard. Just another guard, make sure you have it. And then you just hope for the best.
They're so young that you can run this.
So young.
You can run it back for 2 years.
You
3
get rid
years.
of Paul Millsap, their best player,
or their oldest player.
their oldest player would be JaVale McGee. But I'm talking that plays, or like that is going to be useful to them later in their future, is JaMychal Green, I guess you could say. He's 31. JaVale McGee's there one more year. I don't know if they'll bring him back. If they got Bobo, want him to step up.
He never
Mhm.
played very much.
Yeah, if they want Bobo to step up and do what he does, I think they're going to let him walk. And then you have 24, Jamal Murray. 26, Nikola Jokic. 25, Aaron Gordon is only 25. I
He's
swear.
been in the league, it feels like, for
Eight
like
is-
10 years.
Exactly.
You look at Jokic.
He's only 25.
You look at Jokic and you see he's obviously the most unathletic player in the league.
Yeah.
Meaning his game relies nothing on his legs. He's dunked the ball twice that I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Ever.
Yeah.
His game doesn't rely on his legs. Dude can play till he's 35.
His basketball
Easily.
IQ is
40.
good. Until it gets to the point where his weight is so much of a problem
Yeah.
that
His weight's always.
And
kinda
he's gained
went
weight
up
and
and
cut
down.
weight so many times that I
He-
feel like it's easy.
they got to keep him.
Like
They
he
gotta
can
keep
look
him.
however he wants, in my opinion.
It's just when he gets to the offseason, they don't keep him in touch.
Yeah, because he's in
He's in Serbia.
Serbia right
That
now.
man is going
Horse
to
racing.
He's horse racing.
That man is eating.
But
out.
I think his relationship
He's
with everyone on the
eating
team
everything.
is great. I think he's a great locker room guy.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think him
They
and Jamal
call him
Murray
the
are
Joker
best
for a
friends.
reason.
they got a good The fact that their duo was able to be friends like that helps.
You
them
don't
so
get that
much.
very often. Like
You really don't.
And-
And then the way Aaron Gordon came in there, it fit in perfectly. Like he said, he's getting
never gotten easier
buckets.
buckets.
Because Joe, is such a great duo.
Hmm
The fact they thought of that, their front office, that is amazing.
That came out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly.
You were seeing Aaron Gordon to the
It
Blazers.
was one of those you didn't think about it.
Aaron
and when
Gordon to
they
the
did it,
Celtics.
everybody's
and
like,
when they did it,
oh
I was
my,
like,
that's genius. That was my
like,
thought. Like who would? Yeah. How
wow.
did we not think about that?
But yeah, the Nuggets. I think out of the teams in the West, they have the brightest future.
100%.
And
No,
I
no,
think
no. Are we the Suns? But
I haven't gotten there yet.
what if Chris Paul leaves? That's their thing.
Yeah, I think that I can say it pretty confidently that with an MVP at 26 already, and with Jamal Murray, who borderline All-Star, 18,
Only
20,
24.
yeah, and then brightest future, in my opinion, personally,
And with Michael Porter Jr.
Michael Porter Jr.
That man, every improvement.
Shot
every
maker,
single year.
bucket getter,
Awful passer. Terrible.
awful defender.
Awful defender. Awful
He's never met a
passer.
shot he has not liked.
Yeah.
But I tell you this though.
Exactly.
I tell you this, I watched a lot of Nuggets games in the bubble, and I watched a lot of Nuggets games against the Blazers and the Suns. I watched all those. His defense dramatically improved. He used to be
You see that in a lot of young players.
singled out in the pick and roll against the Lakers.
Here's the thing. You see that in a lot of young players dominating, especially in today's game. They dominate their high school game. They don't have to worry about their defense.
They never have to worry about defense.
So now that's the first thing they're getting worked on. Kyle Kuzma improved great on defense. I mean, he's no Michael Porter. Michael Porter's going to constantly improve.
Nah, he's better. No, I'm just kidding.
They're making the right steps in everything they
Yes.
do. 100%.
Whoever is in the front office at the Nuggets, I don't exactly know off the top of my head who it is, but they're doing their job tremendously.
100%.
On to the 2 seed.
They had that 50-50 chance with, do they take Jokic or do they take Nurkic?
And they
son of a
picked
gun.
Oh my
They
goodness.
picked the right. And it didn't seem like the first few games when they did that, Nurkic went off.
He did. I remember. I want to look up the stats.
And
but I
everybody
can't.
was like, what have they done? But it's a long game, and sure enough, they made the right decision. And they
On
knew
to
it.
my favorite 2 seed of all time, the Phoenix Suns. Okay, let's see. What was
Great
the question
team.
I have?
Out of nowhere.
It's not even about their play. I'm asking, how does their cap situation work? I'm gonna list. He's gonna look it up, but I'm gonna list things out. Chris Paul wants $100 million. Devin Booker got his 4-year, 5-year, 158.
That's a lot of money.
DeAndre Ayton.
Indeed, it is. Martin.
DeAndre Ayton is gonna get Luka money.
And
That's
he
what they
deserves
say.
it. He
That's what they
deserves
say.
deserves it.
Luka money.
That's
Mikal Bridges reportedly is gonna receive a max from any other team.
Yeah, he's gone. It has to be. You look at these contracts.
Something has to give, and it has to be your bench. Your
First of
bench
all,
has to give if
the
you want to
fact
keep that.
that Chris Paul is turning down a $44 million for a team that I still think he might take it. If
That
they win the
means-
championship, why do you not? Every single person would be back. Besides, E'Twaun Moore, Langston Galloway, Cameron Payne's going to want a bigger contract because of this playoff run. And then, the rest of the players don't matter. They could all run it back with the players they need. But why?
In my opinion, when
What if
Go
he's
ahead.
What if he's fronting it? Imagine he's fronting it and saying, "I want $100 million," and he takes that pay cut and lets them players get paid, and they run it back and win it again if they win it this year.
in my opinion, he's the guy to do that because
He
I don't
is the dude
think
to do that.
if he's in Houston still, he doesn't decline that player option.
No,
he takes the
not at all.
44 mil.
100%
If
takes
he's
it.
still in OKC, he takes that 44 mil. I think he likes the Suns so much.
He's not unhappy. You can tell he loves them there.
Because what's the math? When you do 100 divided by 3, that's 30.
That's $33
33-ish.
million.
That's significantly less than 44. And I think you look at that, and I think he likes the Suns so much that he wants to free up $10 million for them.
100%. And they might, if they win the championship, I guarantee you could talk him down to even less. But hopefully an 85 to 90.
He wants that 3-year 80. What's
Oh
that?
my gosh.
Like
That is-
24-ish,
That's about
24, 25-ish.
And then that would clear them.
No,
out.
like 30. I don't know.
That's a
I'm
solid
tired
up
of
to
math.
15, a little bit more.
It's
$1 million to get another player to work. You're not going to get Mikal Brat if he wants a max. You let him go. I don't know how, unless they go heavy into luxury.
Mm-hmm.
How's that going to work?
Like, you have Chris Paul. You can run it back with the exact same lineup.
You might want to hope Cameron Johnson turns into Mikal Bridges. Cameron Johnson, he's kind of the 4 though. and
He's a 4. But
he can
Mikal
play
Bridges
3.
is my favorite player on the Suns.
He's a great player.
And I hear those reports of him getting a max, and I think, why? Because you compare him to NBA players, and the first thing you think of is, for me, Robert Covington.
Yeah.
Does Robert Covington get a max?
no.
Well, here's the thing, because he's 24 years old. He's 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing.
He is-
But are
he
you
can get
willing
better.
to sacrifice a possible chance to lose Booker, DeAndre Ayton, or I guess Chris Paul in this situation? Well, Cameron, I guess that's it for Mikal Bridges.
See, the thing about Cameron Payne is he has such a good relationship with Monty Williams
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
that I don't. The league dispelled him. The Cavs dispelled him. The
Bulls.
the
Bulls
Bulls,
did him
the Thunder.
dirty.
The Bulls said he wasn't an NBA player, and the
Yeah.
Thunder, they didn't play him. They put him in the G League. Monty Williams is the only man who ever gave him a chance.
And Chris Paul. Everybody my
loves
dad has been saying it for years. When we fired Monty Williams, I told him
That was a horrible mistake.
at the time everybody's like, Warriors assistant coach, great offense, it's gonna work out. My dad said Monty Williams is gonna go somewhere, and my dad, promise you, said he's gonna be a coach of the year.
You
And
remember?
sure enough, he's back with Chris Paul. Why would Chris Paul leave this? He's
He's in a perfect situation.
This man has been on like toxic, crazy teams. He's been on
Yeah.
past few. It kind of works out, but
They have the best locker room in the league.
he's finally exactly. He's in a situation where it's working out. Everything's going great. Why leave? Why take up more money? He doesn't need the money. His legacy, if he's worried about his legacy, that's championships. And this is the way to do it.
Personally, I don't think he leads.
I don't
In
either.
my unprofessional opinion, I think that Chris Paul. I think it's an obvious decision to stay with the Suns. If y'all two are in Chris Paul's situation, do you
Hold
stay
up.
with the Suns
I
or do you
say-
go to the Lakers?
I stay with the Suns, but here's why he might be doing this. He takes that player option,
The
In
44
1
mil
year-
player option.
the 44 million. That after that all season, they have to re-sign Chris Paul, DeAndre Ayton, and Mikal Bridges. All
That's a
three of
lot. That is a
them.
lot.
He is doing it this year to get what he wants and hopefully go down more, so they can figure out what they have to do with him.
Did you hear those reports about how if Bam had signed his extension a year later, they would have had 13 more million? So basically, he signed his, I think it was that 158 again, and he signed it early, very early, to where they had to give him more signing bonuses and more
Bam
incentives.
is at 28, 30, 32, 34, 37 through 2025.
Okay, and they gave him that and a lot of incentives for this year, which he got. So they paid him a lot more money. So if Pat Riley himself said if they had waited, they would have had 13 million more this offseason. I think Chris Paul's doing something like that
I don't know whether they get
to where they have the money.
Yeah, exactly. He's trying to figure. He's getting his cap situation because he wants to be there more years. You get your money now. You go lower. Hopefully, they can figure out what they need to do. You give DeAndre Ayton, 22 years old, balling at this rate. You give him that. Mikal Bridges.
If you can get an automatic 20 and 15 a night, I don't think you can't not pay that.
To me, if you win a championship and your best players are under 25, you bring everybody back every time.
You run it back.
You pay that money.
If they win the championship this year, I take back what I said about the Nuggets. That's the brightest future in the NBA.
If they can figure out their cap situation, which is really just bring back Chris Paul with enough money to bring back Ayton's coming back no matter what. They have to. And Mikal Bridges.
And the thing about whatever they do is, whatever they do, they have bird rights. And I don't know exactly how bird rights work, but it means
Nobody does.
It means they can work into the luxury tax without actually working into the luxury tax. They can match whatever DeAndre Ayton gets in free agency. They can match Mikal.
You have some players like Jay Crowder, great player.
Sign
for
that
them.
3 year. He's there for 2 more years.
He's there for 3 years. But let's say you need $10 more million. Do you get rid of Jay Crowder?
You get rid of Jay
Dario
Crowder.
Saric, he's on at $8 million.
This is what you do. You get rid of Jay Crowder if you need that, and you go get someone for your bench, and you slide Cam Johnson into the starting
I was about to
lineup.
say, Cam Johnson makes that next step, and him, or you get rid of Dario Saric. Jay Crowder
He
playoff.
did great the other night. Dario
He's
Saric.
great, but Jay Crowder in the playoffs, I'm loving this man. This man he does what he does. He's great. I think
He is looking like a genius
He
for
is.
making the Sun signing. You heard that?
Yeah.
You heard when he said that?
dude, I don't know.
The Suns do have a lot of checkbooks to look over in the summer,
That dude's job, he's about to earn his paycheck.
but I think we can confidently move on to the Jazz, saying that the Suns will figure it out.
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
So on to the Jazz.
Let me go to the Jazz on here.
They were the 1 seed. They were up 2-0, and Kawhi was out. How do you not close that out? The question is, do they need to shake things up? And I'm not saying shake things up like trade Donovan Mitchell or trade Rudy Gobert. That's not
Me.
off the table.
First of all, as Pelicans fans, me and Parker understand the fact that they have Derek Favors on $9 million for 3 more years.
Yeah.
It's
That's
insane.
terrible.
Atrocious.
That is a waste of a
That is
$9 million. They're losing $34 million to Mike Conley this year. Mike Conley's great. He did his role. Like, he's not, obviously he couldn't help him win the championship, but he was he got you what you needed at point guard. He'll be gone.
In my opinion, you can't have a situation where Mike Conley's on the bench and Donovan Mitchell is the point guard. That did not work. That hasn't worked the last
That's
2
what
years.
I'm saying. Mike Conley, $34 million gone. You have Bojan Bogdanovic,
Who's old now?
32. 17 million, 18 million. He'll be 35 years old making 19 million.
That's a lot.
Almost
That's a
20.
lot of money.
Joe Ingles 33, 10 million, 14 million. Royce O'Neal, he's younger. I
You
like
keep-
him.
How old is Joe Ingles?
Players,
33.
He's 33.
players, in my opinion, that the Jazz cannot get rid of: Donovan Mitchell,
100%.
Jordan Clarkson,
100%. That man's been balling.
Joe Ingles. Those are the only 3 players that I think are not expendable.
At some point, Joe's gonna have to go.
Yeah, he
Joe's
does.
gotta go.
But 1B for that is Rudy Gobert.
Y'all want to hear this contract for Rudy Gobert? It pains me. Look, don't get me wrong.
I don't want to hear it.
He's
This
getting a
is-
It's the most for any center ever, isn't it?
26 million, 35 million, 38 million, 41 million,
Oh,
43 million. This man will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going into age 34 with a player option of $46 million.
and he's not going to turn that down.
He-
Anyway, see the thing is,
If he
I
turns
say-
that down, then
I
He's-
say
he
needs
1B. I say 1B. You can't trade Rudy Gobert because of that. It's an untradeable
What
contract.
team wants that? I don't.
One team I can think of is the Kings.
Kings.
The Kings.
the Kings would be the team.
The Kings would be the
The Kings would be.
The Kings. I mean,
Hold up. If they could clear the cap, I know a team that needs somebody right now to play the 5, and that's the Los Angeles Lakers. If they could figure out that cap situation, to me, it's physically impossible with
Yeah.
39, 40, and 44 for LeBron, and then 32, 35, 37, 40 for the Lakers. You get rid of everybody. And you do your best, and you go in the luxury.
you
LeBron, AD, Rudy Gobert, and then you sign
sign
some
and
fifth,
trade Andre Drummond
you can sign some kind of 5th grader. At that point, you
Just get somebody out from the stands.
for something like
Yeah.
that. Do you sign and trade Andre Drummond?
100% you sign and trade Andre Drummond. 100% you get another point guard that can play that position. That's all you need. That 2-man can be filled in by, I guess, nobody.
KCP.
Alfonso McKinney.
God.
That man's the only one there.
I don't want to go back to Lakers because they get talked about enough. But again, it's a rough situation. They're trying to do everything to keep up the Laker culture of winning 17 championships, and I think they got their championship out of LeBron and AD, and I don't think they can do much more than that.
Then again, you look at it again. What do the Jazz want from them that they can get? Nothing.
Absolutely nothing. Again, that sign and trade for Andre Drummond. Same player, less defense.
Oh, you mean sign and trade and get Gobert?
Yes.
Okay, I thought you meant sign and trade him for somebody else, and you figure out what else. I don't know. Gobert's worth more than that. I know he gets his hate, but he's worth more than Andre.
When it gets up to that $44 million, he's not worth that.
Not a whole lot of people.
You mean
who are worth
46?
$46 million.
46.
That is unbelievable.
That is-
Not a lot of people who are worth $46 million.
You can't, because you're in a situation where you can't
Okay.
let him walk.
Only 3. Okay, let me say this. 3 people I would give $46 million to: Steph Curry,
100%.
Giannis, and Luka.
That's it.
Yes.
3 players. That is
the
it
only
in the
three.
NBA. That is
If you're
it.
the Pelicans, I give it to Zion too.
If you're the Pelicans and that's the only way you can keep him, that's Zion.
That's
But
the only way you can keep your
That's
team.
the only way they could keep Rudy Gobert.
That's the only way they could keep him in New Orleans is if they did that with Zion.
bro.
But that's the only way they keep Rudy Gobert.
That's the
And
only
you're
way
not-
you can
And
keep
that's
any
sad
good player
because
in
are
a
you
small
really that
market.
scared that someone's going to give Rudy Gobert that max? Are
Rudy
you really that
finessed
scared?
them. Rudy finessed the Jazz.
That's the only way they could have kept
He's
him.
the French finesser, dog.
He beat the
I
Jazz.
tell
one.
you what.
He defeated the
to go-
Jazz.
You talk about
1-7.
zero bag. Like, you make fun of Giannis. We make fun of Ben Simmons for having zero bag. Ben Simmons can pass the ball. Giannis has a
Rudy
Euro step.
Gobert-
What does Rudy Gobert
Rudy
have?
Gobert's bag is blocking shots.
Yeah.
Imagine your bag being
And low
defense.
key, when he gets in the playoffs, he gets exposed.
Exposed in the pick and roll.
Exposed.
In the 1-5 pick and roll, it's insane. It's like
He's too slow. He
you
can't
watch the Suns and so it would have been Suns Jazz. Is that what that's the series that it would have been?
Yeah,
the
I think so.
1-5 pick and roll is what's being exposed right now. Both teams are using the 1-5 pick and roll, and that's why the Clippers won. They used Reggie Jackson and Zubac, and they got Reggie Jackson to work on Rudy Gobert. And when Rudy Gobert would sag down, Reggie Jackson would just come off the screen and shoot it.
Mm-hmm.
And if he came up, he would just blow by him. And Rudy Gobert's not fast enough to catch
No
up with
defensive player of the year
Don't
should
get me
get
wrong.
torched by Reggie Jackson and Ivica Zubac.
Yeah.
Facts.
If there was no 3-second violation, Rudy Gobert.
He would be a monster.
Oh man. Oh my goodness. But he has to at some
There
point
he
get
is,
out of the
so-
paint in his life.
Yeah.
So, by the way, the Suns
Are now title favorites.
plus 100 as they started the season plus 6,000.
Okay. The
I
other
saw
day
something
when we
that
were
said if
talking,
you
the
bet-
Bucks were the favorite at that point.
One
Yeah.
second. I saw that said if you would have bet $100 at the beginning of the season that the Hawks come out as the conference final
They were
champions.
the 14 seed last year. I didn't know that.
No.
I
You
didn't
make
know that.
$5,000. $5,000.
That's crazy.
That's unbelievable. All right.
And I'm not a betting man. Like
Me neither.
I don't
I
have
don't
the
bet.
$100 to do that.
Yeah.
But you look
I'm
back
not
at that
smart
and it's
enough
like,
to bet.
dang, if I had $100.
I'm
Because
not
you could
smart
bet
enough
on
to
every
bet.
single team that you thought was going to like then you'd still make money.
Like
Just put
It-
$10
a
on the
rich
worst
person-
team,
this is off topic, but you can
My bad.
a rich person you can just $100 on everyone throughout the
I
season.
know.
Like,
Yeah. That's
besides, and you can even be smart about it, like the Rockets, really
Yeah.
not $100. The Pistons, not $100.
But a team like the Hawks, who just signed 3 great free agents or 2, then you can do it, and then
You can do
you're
it.
gonna make money.
Just put $100 on the
It's-
top 15 teams.
Yeah,
yeah.
There you go.
All right. What else we got?
I think for the West we can wrap it up there. In the next episode we can talk about the East, but the West obviously is better than the East.
Yeah,
right.
it's always
obviously.
been.
And so there's a lot of teams in the West that are closer to a championship than the East. So in the East, we're going to talk about the same things. I have 8 more questions. Go ahead.
You never introduced us.
I'm Cameron,
I'm Travis.
I'm Parker.
and this has been the Catching Fire podcast. Thank y'all for listening. Episode 2, I don't know when it'll be out, but we'll record it, and I promise you it'll be good. Thank y'all for listening. Goodbye.